Viewer discretion is advised.
It's fine.
Okay, here we go. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine or a questionably cloudy colored beverage that's very confusing to Lucy. Chat true crime and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents. I am Amanda.
We sure do. I'm Lucy.
This elixir that looks like cholera watery stool.
It looks like the shit they pull out of your face when you do one of those water treatments at like Sephora.
But it's actually so good. It's just like a drink powder. Everybody calm down.
It's not pickle juice mixed
Stop
with
targeting
horse
me.
jizz. It's like kind of pearlescent. I don't trust it.
No, the color is rancid, but it's like lemon ginger. It's really tasty. It's a liquid IV. It's like one of their energy powders. It's really good. I've been drinking them in the morning. They help me get hydrated. Listen, everybody get off my nut. I actually slept well for like the first time in my fucking life last night. I'm in a good mood and I feel attacked over my poop water slurry.
I'm just saying, normally, I think it's better to drink things out of glasses you can't see through.
Actually, that is super fair, and I wanted to, but the dishwasher is still running, and I have, like, no clean glassware right now that isn't clear. Yeah, so I had to reach for a jar, like the
drinking jars.
The drinking jars. When they're not the weed jars, they're the drinking jars because they get cleaned the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any residue, oh well.
Oh no.
Oh no.
What will I do?
Eat a bunch of chips.
Yeah. Exactly. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we have
like potato chips.
You guys like potato chips? We have a very special fan pick this week from definitely a real name, Eel Selmer.
Eel.
Feel the eel. Who wanted...
I'm feeling eel.
I am. Who wanted us to dive into historical Hungary, as in Hungary, as in the place.
Hungary.
As in Hungarian hippos.
I did make sure to eat not only a full lunch, but also then a snack.
So you wouldn't be so hungry.
So I wouldn't be reminded of how hungry I am.
That's
the whole
fair.
time we're talking about hungry.
That's fair. I'm excited about this episode. I got the fan pick case.
Mm-hmm. And I'm filling in the rest.
You have a manic smorgasbord of bizarre shit.
Mm-hmm. I definitely do.
So let's dive into it because obviously for our wine crime pairing, we got to talk Hungarian wine.
We have to.
Which Lucy actually was like, are you talking about this? Because I got this fun fact in my notes. The oldest demarcated official wine region in the world is in Hungary.
That's so wild.
It's Tokaj, which looks like Tokaj, Tokaj, but I looked up the pronunciation. And experts have
culturally sensitive of you.
Oh my God. It's probably the only thing I'll pronounce remotely properly because like Hungarian, Czech, Germanic, I like so many consonants.
Yeah.
That sound different. It's like my mouth can't do it, but I'm sure as heck gonna try.
I checked a couple of my words that I have to say, but I got a lot and I'm just gonna lean into completely butchering them.
We're going to do our best. Do our best. So experts have found traces of viticultural like artifacts dating back more than 2,000 years. So this is from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. The unique combination, this is what makes this place like so fucking perfect for winemaking and why it's historically like the first official wine region is because it's this microclimate that is perfect and is mind-blowing. So the unique combination of topographic, environmental, and climatic conditions of the Tokaj wine region with its volcanic slopes, wetlands creating a special microclimate that favors the apparition of the noble rot, like the specific fruit and wine grapes.
Oh.
As well as the surrounding oak woods so they could make the barrels there, the storage, have long been recognized as outstandingly favorable for grape cultivation and specialized wine production. All these features have enabled the development of vineyards, farms, villages, small towns, and historic networks of wine cellars carved by hand into mostly volcanic rock.
Oh my God.
Which are the most characteristic structures in Tokaj.
So that would affect the what am I trying to say?
Like the aging, the storage, yep.
Yeah.
Because like these volcanic rocks are like perfectly insulated to keep it at a natural cellar temperature.
That's how they make Roquefort cheese.
Yeah.
It's in Roquefort, France, in their caves, and that's why it's like very specific moldy veins.
Yeah. So there are structures like this, like these carved cellars that date back to 1110.
That is a time on the clock. That is not
a year. I know. In that book. So the wines from this region were known for their intense sweetness. So like the way that the temperature is there, things ripen really fully and can start to rot on the vine. And that was like desirable. We'll kind of get into it, but it made like some of the early, very expensive, they still make it, but like this particular wine is so fucking expensive that there was no way I was going to order this or even necessarily like recommend it to be ordered. Like if you have that kind of money and you want to try this wild ass wine, by all means, go for it. But I was like, I'm going to recommend a Hungarian like classic wine that you can get for like $20, not this. So the most desirable of these elixirs and the most expensive, this from Wine Folly, was that of Tokaj Essentia, a liquid goo that contains as much sweetness as straight syrup.
Oh, I don't know that I'd like that.
Nope. It's so intense that Essentia is typically enjoyed from a tablespoon.
Ew.
But because of the high sugar content, it will age safely and pretty gracefully 200 plus years.
Damn.
And still be drinkable.
Wow.
Similar viticultural regions in France and Germany have tried to like replicate these early royal wines, but an official classification in 1730, which eventually was basically stamped into eternity by royal decree in like 1757, established essentially a closed production practice specific to the Tokaj region. So it's like how real champagne can only come from Champagne, France. Mm-hmm. These Essentia and Azu, A-S-Z-U, which like kind of sounds like sugar and like other kind of Latin-derived words, can only come from Tokaj.
Cool.
Similarly to sake, the fermentation for these syrupy sweet wines relied on special mold. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier about the over-ripening. A necrotrophic fruit fungus called gray mold or botrytis. The mold develops on the berries in moist conditions, such as in foggy river valleys, and then dries when the sun comes out. The process of rotting and drying causes the grapes to shrivel and become sweet like fucking raisins. While the production practices have evolved over time, the sweetness remains a staple of this type of wine. Quote, Essentia is now a segment of wine on its own. No more Tokaj Azu Essentia. It's like its own thing. With a minimum sweetness to qualify it as an Essentia. You're not going to believe this. A minimum sweetness level of 450 grams of sugar per liter, which for perspective is 4 times as much as a can of Coke. It's so sweet. It's syrup.
But why is that desirable? I mean, I guess.
I don't think it's desirable in the modern time. Now it's like enjoyed for its like historical value, but I think this was like a very elite thing to have access to and be able to drink in.
I guess when you didn't have like a lot of sugar in fucking everything else like we do now.
That's the thing. Like peasants and paupers didn't have access to sugar that much. So like this was sweet things and indulgences like this that would be drank by the teaspoon because it was like so sweet. That is so fucking royal coated. Like I can't even. It's very on the nose. I clearly will not be drinking this anytime soon. My pancreas could fucking never. But a varietal that has grown in popularity and is like from this region, and we've actually talked about it a little bit before, is Furmint. Furmint.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a drier white with much less residual sugar and a lot of natural acidity to just really balance out that sweetness. It kind of can drink like a dry Riesling. And you can snag a bottle of Royal Tokaji Dry Furmint on wine.com for around $20. I've seen some vintages retail closer to like $18, $19, and then other really like good years be closer to like $23. The variation is not very much, but it's very highly rated and won't give me type 3 diabetes. So that's my recommendation.
Okay.
This is a fresh, crisp white wine showing all the fine qualities of the unique Furmint grape. Aromas of grape flowers, apple, and pear combined with flavors of ripe apricot and peach to produce a sleek, intense, dry wine with a long, refreshing finish. This wine is delicious as an aperitif, ideal with oysters, seafood, wet meats.
Ooh.
But partners equally well with spicy dishes and fried foods. You want that like either similar or like matching or opposite. So, you know, some seafoods can be on like the sweeter side. This would pair really well with that. Or sweetness cuts really well through like high fat and high spice.
Yeah.
To just like clear out your palate. So I thought that was fun. It's a very versatile white. And again, you can grab that. You can order it on wine.com. I'm not sure if if this particular wine is in Total Wine, but you can definitely check your local Total Wine and see if they have it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my
Fascinating.
recommended pairing. And thank you for steering me in the direction of Hungarian wine history. There's so much. I only included
Historical
like
Hungary.
2 little bits, but it's really fucking fascinating. Anything that's been around that long,
I mean,
what the fuck?
I'm
We're
gonna
doing something right.
I'm going to tell us a little bit about the history, but this bitch has been around for a very, very long time. So like, I had to gloss over like a lot of it.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive because it's been like invaded and lands have fucking been the Romans
Empires
and the Germans and the Austrians.
Yeah.
It's a wild cross section. The fucking Habsburgs. I couldn't believe when I came across those inbred fucks. And
They're everywhere.
Everyone's had their goddamn hands on Hungary. Let me tell you. So
Truly.
let's get deeper into it after a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors.
Let's do it.
With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Green Chef Every Plate is now owned by HelloFresh, and with a wider array of meal plans to choose from, there's something for everyone. We love switching between the brands, and now our listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount on us.
I have made so much HelloFresh the last like week or so. I gotta say, the star has been sweet and sour shrimp and noodles.
Oh, you sent me a picture of that. So good.
And it looked gorgeous. That was also my first time cooking shrimp.
It's
and I was
easier than you'd think.
I was so nervous about it, and I was like, you got this. You got this.
I love that.
They wouldn't send you something that you couldn't handle.
I don't usually cook pork at home because it makes me nervous like it does shrimp for you. And I have made like 3 pork dishes with HelloFresh because I just like, they walk you through every step and it is so good. It's opened a whole new world.
Yeah, and they make it easy to like swap out proteins if you want to. It's so easy to find time to eat really well with 50 wholesome, delicious, hassle-free meals to choose from every week delivered to your door. Their lineup of their prep and bake meals come together with minimal mess and only 5 minutes of prep. So like your oven does most of the work, not you.
Yep.
Also made a one-pan tacos.
Yum.
Ground pork tacos.
I love that.
My God.
I love that you can like pick meals that are like, okay, I want this in like 30 minutes or less.
Yep.
Yeah,
They're all
add to cart.
super fast. All those tips, all those swap outs. It's incredible.
So get up to 10 free meals and a free high protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's up to 10 HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast.
So I'm trying to eat better at home, less takeout, just preparing like simpler, healthier meals.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes a lot of like sandwiches, turns out. So bread is back in my grocery rotation.
Yeah.
And with Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience that you love guilt-free. Like enjoying a nutritious breakfast sandwich on a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Or meal prepped enchiladas, yes. Or buttery rolls with a family dinner. Or just buttery tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
Their baked goods are delicious and flavorful, but they have ultra low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and are high in fiber.
I am in love with Hero Bread. I am a type 1 diabetic, so I have to be really careful about my carb intake. And I also love bread.
And some breads have so much sugar,
so much. So today for breakfast, I had a bagel with like honey and peanut butter. And this will only land with like a small handful of people, but I only had to take 2 units of insulin for it, which is like incredible. Just the lower carb rate is so much easier for me to eat. I wanted a late night snack last night, whipped up some pan-fried quesadillas on those Hero Bread flour tortillas. They were so good. Yum. I'm obsessed. The texture is amazing. The taste is amazing. It really is like I toasted the bagel today and it had the outside like perfectly crisp, but still that like soft kind of fluffy, bready inside. It was phenomenal. I was like really blown away by how good it was. And it just fits so nicely into my lifestyle because now I have a really easy like bread option that's not gonna totally spike my blood sugar and like throw off my whole day. I love it. And you just like don't know that it's low net carb and higher fiber from the texture. Like it's soft, it's fluffy, it's the experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, your late night quesadilla, your tacos, and you just don't have to compromise that like really yummy texture and flavor. With the ultra low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, and high fiber, this is like such an easy addition to your regular carb bread intake. It's just a better option.
It's a better option.
Mm-hmm.
Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code GALS at checkout. That's GALS, GALS, at hero.co, HERO.co.
Y'all, when was the last time you were like really looking at the ingredients in your dishwasher pods? Because I had never really given this much thought. But spoiler alert, they're full of chemicals and microplastics that can stay on your dishes even after they're washed. And studies show that this residue ends up inside of you, which can cause inflammation and gut damage. But our babes at Blue Land, they have dishwasher detergent tabs that are 100% plastic free and made with certified clean ingredients that are safe for the whole family. And I got to tell you, I am hard on my dishes. And I lean heavily on my dishwasher. I've been using the Blue Land dishwasher tabs for years now. I will never go back.
Yeah.
They work so well.
You're not compromising the efficiency for like the fact that it's way better for the planet and your wallet.
And your health.
Mm-hmm. Blue Land is on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet with, like I said, the same powerful clean that you're used to. The idea is simple. They offer refillable cleaning products with a beautiful, cohesive design that looks great just sitting out on your counter. I really like their foaming hand soap.
Yeah, it's so nice.
From cleaning sprays to hand soap, toilet bowl cleaner, yes, and laundry tablets, all Blue Land products are made with clean ingredients that you can feel good about. Just fill your reusable bottles with water, drop in one of the tablets, and wait for them to dissolve. You will never have to grab those bulky cleaning supplies on your grocery run.
The worst.
carrying it all in your house, recycling it when you're done with it. Like it's a whole thing, and it's terrible for the planet. Blue Land products are effective and affordable with refill tablets starting at just $2.25. You can get even more savings by buying refills in bulk or setting up a subscription. Blue Land products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands and are free from dyes, bleach, and harsh chemicals. And Blue Land is trusted in over 1 million homes, including ours.
And Blue Land has a special offer for our listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to blueland.com/gals. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/gals for 15% off. That's blueland.com/gals to get 15% off. Okay, Lucy, what is our smorgasbord for historical Hungary?
We got a lot of history, as I suggested before the break.
I'm excited.
No psych. Really no. Well, we'll
Listen.
leave that up to you, because I do have a little mini case for us.
Okay.
So Hungary is located in Central Europe, bordered by Slovakia to the north, Ukraine to the northeast, Romania to the south and southeast, Slovenia and Croatia to the southwest, Austria to the west, and that's it.
Yep.
So she's landlocked, but fear not, dear thalassophiles, because they do have Lake Balaton. A thalassophile is somebody who needs to be near the sea.
Okay, Geo.
I know, right?
I'm feeling threatened by your love of Geo from Spooky Lakes Month.
Don't worry. We did exchange phone numbers, and I did text her this morning, but only because I ordered her book and I sent her a picture of it. Listen, we're long distance.
It's fine.
She's not going to it'll never be like it is with you and me.
No new friends. Just kidding. I love her. I love her. This isn't real jealousy that much.
No, because we're all friends. And
Yeah.
you got to see firsthand how much I had in common with her.
It's so true. It's so true. I'm happy for you. You finally found someone you can connect with.
Finally. It's about time. Okay. So Lake Balaton is affectionately known as the Hungarian Sea. It's huge. It's over 600 square kilometers or 230 square miles.
Whoa.
It's so big that it would only take 136 of them to have the same surface area as Lake Superior.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty big because, Lake Superior is fucking nuts.
Yeah, it is.
She big.
She's scary. Hungary was settled by various peoples throughout history and prehistory prior to being what we call
Recorded
Hungary.
history. Yeah.
Including the Celts. I always want to say Celts because of the fucking basketball team.
Yep.
The Romans, the Huns, Germanic peoples, Avars or Avars, which is a Northeast Caucasian ethnic group. And when I say Caucasian, I'm referring to the Caucasus, not this.
Yeah.
Also the Slavs. Its geographical location was sort of a crossroads for lots of different tribes. Therefore, they had tons of trade and a unique culture of their own in this area.
Yeah. Such a weird, by weird, I mean fascinating spot because there's proximity to the Mediterranean without being on the Mediterranean. It's nestled in all of these very important and long-standing regions of that part of Europe. And people coming down from Mongolia, the steppes, all the mountains up there, the Caucasus, and coming up from the south from the Adriatic Sea. Yeah, they were invaded by the Mongols, I think multiple times.
Oh, yeah. It's a fucking washing machine cycles worth of just in and out, borders, empires, takeovers, crusades, blah, blah, blah. It's when I say people came down and met and had a cultural meld, it wasn't
American
not violent.
American version of Thanksgiving level overview of how that all went.
Yeah. It's all violent.
Yeah.
But now what we can experience during times of peace is a very interesting, colorful cultural tapestry.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, when I say the Huns, that included Attila, the Hun, who developed this massive empire, including and around what we recognize as Hungary today. Like at its peak, it was very, very large.
Mm-hmm.
Hungarian statehood is traced back to the 9th century, and that was established by Almos and his son Arpad when they conquered the Carpathian Basin, which is the whole. It's a topographical basin.
AirPod.
Where Hungary is. AirPod.
Go off.
He only had one.
He only had. I literally only have one right now. I lost my other AirPod like months ago.
I lost one of mine in the Berkshires, and I went and bought a single other one. It was almost as much as a whole new pair.
I think mine's somewhere under my bed, and I'm just never, until I move out of this house, I'm never going to excavate for it.
Yeah.
I have over-the-ear sound canceling Bluetooth headphones now that I like literally cannot lose.
Yeah.
Anyway, AirPod.
Anyway, also don't at us saying there's a way to find it, there's a way to track it. There's not if it's dead.
Yep.
I
And if
tried.
it's only the one.
I asked multiple people younger than me to try to find it. No luck. No luck.
We're not gonna look for it. I'm sorry. It's done.
Arpad's on his own. So King Stephen I made them a Christian nation in the year 1000. Also, 10 o'clock. It's a time, not a year. And during the late Middle Ages, Hungary was like kind of a big deal, like a major player in terms of like European powers.
They wanted it. Everyone fucking wanted it over there.
It was a great location. The beaches. Okay. In 1541, the Ottomans captured Buda, which was the capital. Did you know that Budapest is two cities, Buda and Pest?
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Huh.
So, in 1541, the Ottomans captured Buda, which was the capital. And for about 150 years, Hungary was split up into 3 different, like, states, countries, separate individual things. So we had Royal Hungary, which was loyal to the Chins, the Habsburgs.
Yep.
We had Ottoman Hungary and the largely independent Principality of Transylvania. So I have a map. These 3 kind of make up roughly sort of what Hungary is now, but it's like sort of like a long strip, and it goes into a whole other area full of other like nations, city-states, whatever the hell, that were also mostly controlled by the Ottomans. So, interesting map, I thought. In the 19th century, the Austro-Hungarian monarchy came into being, which was a big fucking deal because Austria-Hungary combined made it the second largest country in Europe by land after Russia.
Yeah.
And I think it was the second most populous, or maybe the third most after Russia and Germany.
Yeah, and they were
population.
trying to expand for a hot minute. Through like marriages as well as like war.
Yes.
So yeah, everyone was fighting over that shit.
But that duo collapsed, meaning the Austria and Hungary. That they collapsed after World War I, and then this country really got their dick kicked in. The 1920 Treaty of Trianon established Hungary's current borders, resulting in a 71% loss in historical territory, a loss of most of their economy, 58% of its population, and 32% of its ethnic Hungarians. So go figure, that kind of pitches it into political disarray, and there's Soviet control, and it's not great for a while. And we'll get to it right now. In another not so great turn of events, they went ahead and joined the Axis powers during World War II, suffered a lot of damage and loss of life, and then got occupied by the Soviet Union and was an Eastern Bloc satellite state. It wasn't great being in that kind of in-between,
Nope.
you know, we're historically this way, we're being controlled by this completely opposite thing, but we're not quite them. but they still have control over us. It's just uncomfortable.
Messy. These bitches are all messy. Every single bitch involved in all of this. Messy.
Exactly.
Messy.
They tried to have a revolution in 1956, which didn't go super great. But then in 1989, they had another revolution and transitioned to a democratic parliamentary republic. Also worth noting that they have universal health care and free secondary education.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't mentally get into this right now, but just so you're all aware, Hungary is currently under the leadership of Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Ever heard of him? Who's like Trump jerks off to this man.
Oh, ooh.
Orban is a far right-wing kleptocrat running a pretty much openly corrupt pro-Christian administration while cozying up to Russia and China.
That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. So the fact that Trump admires him tells you all you need to know about that man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now, of course, we got to talk about the flag.
Yes.
It's very boring. There's 3 horizontal stripes.
Aww.
Red on top, white in the middle, green on the bottom. But their coat of arms is way more fabulous. So I'm going to talk about that instead.
This is gorgeous.
It's really gay.
Oh, it's so gay. I love it.
It's very, I don't know, it just reminded me of like drag, camp.
Yes.
All of that.
It's
like orthodox gay.
Uh-huh.
So there's 2 white angels standing on either side of this big shield. They're kind of holding it, but just like very lightly, like Ouija board
their
fingers.
Face cards are not declining.
They're serving Kant.
Mm-hmm. There's also like a ball sack at the top of the crown.
We'll get to all of it.
I need to know what the ball sack is about.
Hold on, let me make sure I know which ball sack you're talking about.
The little red butt ball sack at like the top of the crown under the tilted cross.
Oh, that's Jesus. That's Jesus's throne.
What?
We'll get to it. You got to kind of zoom in.
I'm trying. Oh my God.
Oh, wait, Jesus?
No, it's above Jesus.
It's God then. It's God's balls. It's literally God's ball sack.
The fuck? God's slinging balls. Holy shit.
God's got a couple of cherry bombs on him.
Huge knots.
No.
Big.
Well, he's God.
Nuts.
What do you expect?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're kind of holding this big shield, but like Ouija board fingers barely. They're also clearly floating because their feet are like dangling.
Mm-hmm.
They're angels. On the shield, there are 4 horizontal silver stripes, silver and red alternating stripes on the left side of the shield, which I learned the left side of a coat of arms is called the sinister, and the right side is called the dexter.
Okay, and they serve a specific representative purpose.
Yeah,
the right side always represents whatever that thing is, and the left, whatever the other thing is.
Either that or that's just how they denote what side they're talking about.
Oh, that's less fun.
We can go with your theory, but whatever. I don't have any more information for you.
Great.
So 4 horizontal silver stripes on the sinister, and these are supposed to represent the 4 rivers, which are the Danube, the Tisa, the Drava, and the Sava.
Mm.
On the right side, the dexter, there is a double cross on a red field with what one can only assume is broccoli wearing a crown.
Yeah, it looks like Lumpy Space Princess, but broccoli green with her crown on, and the cross is coming out of the crown.
Yeah.
I want to draw eyes on the green part.
I want to put 2 little googly eyes on it.
Yeah.
And since broccoli has been around since the 6th century BCE in the northern Mediterranean region, it doesn't
literally
not
could
make
be broccoli.
Sense
Oh my God.
It's not broccoli, but it could have been. A reasonable person could
Canonically, it's broccoli.
Yes. But in fact, the 3 green lumps are representative of the mountain ranges. We got the Tatra, the Matra, and the Fatra.
Fine.
But that's broccoli.
Yeah.
In a crown.
Yes.
So up top, is this fancy crown known as the Holy Crown of Hungary, which is supposed to be the crown of Saint Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
And there are representations of like holy dudes up there. There's pearls, there's jewels. There's Jesus sitting on a chair.
And then God with his huge balls hovering over him.
And then this jaunty little cross on top.
Yeah, why is it tilted?
Just is fun.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's just nice and fun.
Jaunty cross.
I told you, this is very gay.
I love it.
This coat of arms was adopted in 1990 at the end of the communist rule. And they made it like a fundamental law. Like, it has to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
So, quote, the coat of arms of Hungary shall be a vertically divided shield with a pointed base. It's not really that pointed.
It's got a little point. Let her have it.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying it's not. For this being the specific mandate, it's sort of, they kind of like slipped it in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The left field shall contain 8 horizontal bars of red and silver. The right field shall have a red background and shall depict a base of 3 green hills, broccoli, with a golden crown atop the central hill, broccoli.
3 broccoli florets.
And a silver patriarchal cross issuing from the middle of the crown. The holy crown shall rest on top of the shield. So, strikingly, nothing about angels, which, again, is weird considering
They're just
how
there.
Prominent they are.
Well, I mean, Christianity was like very prevalent among the changeovers in Hungarian rule. So it's probably just all baked into those long-running Christian Catholic, Roman Catholic themes.
Yeah, that came kind of later, though. I feel like there was a lot of like Muslim Islam influence as well.
But also, this coat of arms was like decreed to be a thing in the 90s.
Right.
So it's not like we're necessarily honoring all the cross sections of like what contributed to Hungarian culture as we know it today.
Of course not.
They just picked.
The angels are just so severe.
But like so feminine.
Yes.
I love them.
I love them. I love their just little floating feet.
The pointed feet are exquisite.
We are talking about Hungary, so we have to talk about the food.
Mm-hmm.
Their food is pretty much with paprika on it. They love their paprika.
Yum.
So they got goulash, which is called guljaslavis. Guljaslavis. There is a famous spicy fish soup called halazel, made with plenty of spicy paprika. Chicken paprikash is chicken with paprika.
Would you like to try my paprikash?
Paprika.
It's from When Harry Met Sally, everybody. Okay.
I like
paprikash.
Paprikash. We've got Hideg Megilevis, which is a great drag name.
Yeah.
It's a cherry soup that's served cold like a borscht.
Yum.
Hideg Megilevis.
Here for it.
And this last one sounds so fucking good. Langos, which is pastry dough with garlic, sour cream, and cheese.
I'm sorry. What?
It's like a really popular street food, so you know it's fucking good.
So it's a dough that's like stuffed?
With it's kind of smeared on top too. It's like a Danish. It's like a Danish, like a savory Danish with garlic, sour cream, and cheese.
Fucking yum. I want that right now.
I know.
Oh my God.
Like, can I add pepperoni?
I know. I'm thinking in my head, like, do I have cheese? Do I have sour cream? Do I have croissants in the freezer? Like, could I whip up some kind of version of this in my high desperation after this episode?
Google it on your phone and just text it to Bill.
True.
He'll do it.
I might.
Yeah. Langos, Langos. Okay, so back to Budapest. I'm going to say Budapest. People are going to say it's Budapest. Okay. But I also say Lausa, not Lau. You know.
Sorry, I'm texting.
Today I'm going to say Budapest.
Langos.
I know you are. This is the capital of Hungary. It, like I said, was originally I didn't say this. It was originally 3 separate cities. This whole fucking place used to be 3 different things. So we had Buda, Buda, which I think sort of just kind of combined to Buda, and Pest, and is classified by UNESCO as one of the world's outstanding urban landscapes. And they have architectural remains that date back to Roman times. It's a very, very, very old city. The population is about 1.7 million people, which is about half the size of the Twin Cities. So like one of the cities. So Buda, Buda, and Pest merged in 1873 with the famous Sechenye Chain Bridge being the main symbol of this unification. I have a picture of it. It's a bridge.
Is it cool? Let me look.
It's beautiful. I think everything in this whole fucking city is gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm here for like a fancy, important bridge being extra about her look.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
The river itself is just really gorgeous. And then like
the architecture here is so pretty. I would totally check out Hungary.
Yeah.
It looks fucking dope.
I want to go to Istanbul and now I want to go to Budapest.
Yep.
So
I want to go to Croatia so bad too.
Yeah.
So bad.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm free next weekend.
Yeah. Should we go tomorrow?
Oh, wait, I don't want to fly right now for fuck's sake.
I know.
Sake.
Listen.
Jesus.
Okay, but since you brought it up.
Okay.
There's a lot of sensationalism in the press.
I know.
About the air travel issues. And that doesn't mean that they're not legitimate, but like we are not higher than we have typically been by this time in like modern air travel than usual. We're actually like lower for fatal crashes than we were in 2022 by February.
Yeah.
So it isn't like things are not good. And Trump's administrative cuts to
the FAA.
the FCC, is it, or whatever?
FAA,
sorry, aviation, are bad. I'm not saying that they're not, but like also it's hot in the media right now, and that's why we're hearing about so many crashes. It's not that even that many more are happening than usually do.
Yeah, I hear you, and I understand that like the DC airport where that one went down into the river and like everywhere.
Oh, well, that was cuckoo bananas. That was a total anomaly with the military copter running right into it.
It's that kind of shit that.
Yeah, that's straight up terrifying and not a typical situation at all. And I still am very disturbed and curious about that particular crash. Very, very, very scary. But some of the other ones that we've seen are not like.
It's now that we're thinking about plane crashes, they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah. And the media knows that. So,
I know.
Just to hold both realities, because I know that like I already have a fear of flying and we fly a lot. So it helps me to remember that like, yep, everybody's talking about this right now. And that's fair. They should be, because this is a scary situation. And air travel is still statistically like one of the safest ways to travel.
Yes.
That has not yet changed, but keep an eye on it.
Well, we are recording this in advance of the release, so if there's something horrific that happens between now and then...
Next week? Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Back to Budapest, but not literally, because I don't know if I
wish.
So the Buda side of the city is a lot more rocky. It's hilly. It's home to the Castle District, which has, as you might guess, a very large castle on a hill, obviously. But if you look at the picture of it, it's more of like a classical looking. It has the green dome, which I'm assuming used to be copper or bronze or whatever. So it's not like super castle-y with like towers and turrets and arrow slits and things like that. It's really just very pretty. And the Buda side is also home to the National Library, National Gallery, and the Budapest History Museum. Pest is a lot flatter, but it holds their parliamentary building, which is huge and gorgeous. I need you to look at it. It looks like the Beast's Castle times 100. It's massive.
Is this the one with like the rainbow over it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It looks like kind of Gothic, like cathedral-y windows. It has tons of little spires and spikes. This big center dome. It's right on the river. It looks so pretty.
So beautiful.
Overall, the city is known for its Art Nouveau architecture. Also a prominent bathing culture. So they have a lot of bathhouses.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna love it when we
Fit
go.
right in.
And they also maintained an air of plenty during the Soviet years, which many other occupied places could not. It didn't get like dirty and brutalist. It stayed looking like this. It is widely considered a safe place to visit, with the main things to look out for being like pickpocketing and mugging and petty crimes and
super
everything.
common.
So just slap that little Canadian flag patch to your backpack and you'll be good to go. Okay, I have some funny town names.
Yes.
So again, I'm going to probably butcher each and every one of them, but it's not only the name, but it's what it means.
Okay.
So the town of Zalona means bacon.
Yum. Well, found where I'm moving.
I like this one. Tatabanya means grandpa mine.
Oh.
Like a coal mine.
Oh.
Like you go mine for grandpas.
I
Or
love
like a grave.
that.
It could just be like a graveyard. I don't know.
Maybe.
Grandpa mine. Alap means basic.
Incredible.
Holoko means raven stone.
Ooh, that's fucking cool.
Holohaza is raven's house. Holohaza. Gomba is mushroom.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Like
Isn't that the name of the
Goomba,
thing?
Goomba, are like, there's one behind me that's not plugged in because of work going on in my office, but that's a Goomba. They're like little mushroom baddies in Mario.
I thought that's what it was. Like, I know something mushroom Goomba related, but yeah, Gomba is
That's
mushroom.
cray. Obviously that's where Nintendo like pulled that name from. That's just so funny, the random choice of Hungarian word for mushroom to be augmented to make Goombas.
It might be pronounced Goomba, but it's spelled
Maybe.
like Gomba.
Goomba.
Tompa means dull.
Yum.
Just say a tompa gomba, dull mushroom. Felsolajos is Upper Lewis.
Okay.
Hersigzanto means Prince Plower.
Yes. Another great drag name.
Pornopati means porn abbey, like a church abbey.
Yep. Okay.
Bugye means panties.
That's a town.
Yeah,
I love it.
this is maybe the best one. Ciznek means they are fucking.
What?
And beled means your intestine.
Wow. These are great.
Yeah. So they just naming their towns whatever the fuck they want, I guess.
Why not?
Just like England.
Pull down your bougie. Chesnik.
Goomba. Tompa Goomba.
Pull down your panties. They are fucking. Gomba, mushroom.
You dull mushroom.
You tompa gomba.
Tompa Goomba.
I love it.
Okay, so now I have a little case for us, followed by a little bedtime story.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Some might consider my case being a bedtime story for many.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the angel makers of Nagyrév. So we're going back. It's 1911, like the root beer. When was Helen born? 12?
17. So six years before Helen. BH.
Well, the song Archibald Certainly Not by William Alfred Glover and John St. John is burning up the charts. Clothing was bulky. Women's rights were not happening. World War I is looming. And we find ourselves in a quaint little village southeast of Budapest called Nagyrév.
Okay.
So this village has like 800 people living in it today, and the sources say that it was about the same size back in 1911.
Okay.
So they had very few resources. They had very little medical care.
Uh-oh.
So now we meet Susanna. I'm going to call her Susan. Whatever. Susan. Fazekas. Okay. Susan Fazekas. Susan is a badass and has a very specific and special set of skills.
Oh, dear.
She's also like a little bit shady.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know where her husband is.
Uh-oh.
Missing? Just out of town? Can't say. Mm-hmm. We also don't really know where she comes from.
Okay.
She's got a little air of mystique. All of this being said, this woman is an experienced midwife with credentials to back it up.
Okay, so in a place with very limited access to medical care, she is valuable.
She is very valuable. So midwifery was one of the few like occupations that afforded women with a modicum of respect for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
But then during the Middle Ages and the church had way too much of a say in things. Mm-hmm. Midwifery began to be associated with witchcraft, which meant that the women who had the knowledge of like natural remedies
are villainized.
Birthing techniques, all that stuff are forced out of the profession in the name of self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
In smaller towns and regions without access to medical care, midwives were still regarded as very important. These women were also, depending on the circumstances, tasked with providing abortion access because abortion is healthcare.
Correct.
Between 1911 and 1921, Susan was imprisoned no fewer than 10 times for providing illegal abortions.
Of course.
But every time she went in front of a judge, she pled her case and the judges were sympathetic and just let her off.
Wow.
So good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Central Hungary was not known for its progressive policies, so she did get pretty lucky with that.
Yeah, Central Hungary in 1911 is sounding real similar, except for the sympathetic judges, to 2025 America.
Uh-huh. Fewer and fewer sympathetic judges.
Mm-hmm.
Also during this time in Central Hungary, marriages were frequently arranged, usually arranged. And the women had literally no recourse if their husband was a prick or abusive or whatever, an alcoholic.
Yeah. You're trapped in this marriage. You can't divorce. There's like nothing you can do about it.
And also the women tend to be married off very young, which is its own issue.
Yeah.
So anyway, Susanna comes to town in 1911. World War I breaks out. 9 million able-bodied men are sent off to fight for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And as we recall from earlier in my segment, didn't go very well. This leaves women who have already been in fraught marriages alone without money or support. And they were also left to care for their families, which oftentimes were growing even though their husbands were out of town.
Love that.
Because Nagyrév becomes one of the villages that became a holding camp for Allied prisoners of war.
So there were still men around.
Hot prisoners of war.
Yeah, even if their husbands were off fighting.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my abusive husband is out of town.
Yeah.
You're a prisoner of war.
Call me the Prince Plower.
Can I bandage your wounds?
And ride that D.
D-Day, baby.
The first D-Day.
Prince Plower. May I inspect your dull mushroom?
Won't be dull for much longer.
Sick.
Because they're fucking. We're so fucking stupid. Anyway.
Sorry for teaching you Hungarian.
Yeah.
So while these men were prisoners, they did have some limited freedom within the village.
Well, yeah, they needed the hands. They're probably put to work.
Yeah, they were roaming around. They were roaming. So some good old-fashioned wartime banging begins, and that is fine with me.
Yep.
Each source I found pointed out that some women had 3 or 4 lovers at a time, maybe all at once. Sadly, the war had to end, and the other men had to come home, the ones that survived. And again, World War I, the advent of trench warfare, as well as widespread use of things like machine guns and poison gas and those fucking flamethrower.
Yeah, these men are coming home fucked up, physically and emotionally.
Yup.
Yeah.
So the battlefields were basically meat grinders. Nobody came out unscathed.
Yeah.
PTSD was not a recognized condition.
But was rampant, I'm certain.
Oh my God. Which, when coupled with the physical injuries many had suffered, made for a particularly volatile situation upon their homecoming. The women of the village began to confide in Susanna about their situation with the men that have returned, and the ever-pragmatic Susanna forms a very simple plan.
Atta girl.
We're gonna fucking poison them.
Yep.
And Susan was smart, so she chose arsenic as the vehicle for the killings. So arsenic was used for a variety of purposes for like thousands of years, treating everything from syphilis to skin blemishes. It was widely available in Victorian times. It's also like super common for poisoning people because the symptoms are very similar to a little chestnut called cholera. So those symptoms are like vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, skin discoloration.
Yep.
Death.
Easily blamed on something else.
And in a tiny village with like no infrastructure, no reliable drinking water, cholera was always
A possibility.
on the menu.
Yep. Cholera was always on the menu. Blech. God.
Susan made her arsenic by boiling fly paper and like skimming the residue off the top because that's what the sticky poisony stuff is. She begins to persuade the women to start poisoning their husbands, but she goes a step further and enlists a woman who I think might have been her cousin. This woman's name was Susie Ola, and she worked as a clerk for the town. So Susanna got her to write and file the death certificates, further obfuscating what was actually going on.
Yeah, cause of death. Looks like cholera to me. Done.
And the rumor was already that Susie, the cousin, had poisoned her own husband when she was 18 years old. So she was like,
I support.
I got you.
She's like, I have your back. Yeah.
You asked the right bitch.
Count me in.
All
You
the
scratched
way.
my back. I'm going to scratch yours.
Exactly. So things are great. But then they kind of escalate. The women of the town get a taste of power and begin to poison more than just their shitty husbands.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope when you know you can get away with it.
Yeah.
Some reports say that they began to poison their parents, their children, even their lovers.
Like, I don't want to break up. Breaking up is so annoying. I'll just kill him.
Yeah.
I'll get so much attention if he dies of cholera.
I will get so many hot dishes delivered. Susanna herself was quoted as saying, "Why put up with them?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry your kids are shitty. They gotta go.
Holy shit.
Why put up with them?"
She's a monster. I love her.
She sounds like a dirtier Elizabeth Taylor.
Kind of.
With like 8,000 husbands. She just does not give a shit.
Next. Yeah. I mean, she had me until killing the kids, which, like,
If they're shitty kids.
I get that kids can be really fucking annoying, but
I mean,
They
it's the
didn't
same
ask
thing
to
as
be
abortion.
oh, is it? Oh my God.
Just kidding.
You heard it here first, people.
That's it. I'm pro-life. Just kidding.
I can finally be myself.
Ew, I got sweaty just saying those words.
Yeah, no, that made me deeply uncomfortable.
I know.
Did
I
not
take it
like
back.
that.
Kill the kids.
This was a joke.
Kill them all.
God.
Okay, why put up with them? There were an estimated 45 to 50 murders, but also possibly as many as 300?
Well, because, how are we going to know? Fucking cousin Susie is marking them all as cholera in the historical record.
Yeah.
We're not sure. We know that 50 for surezies happened.
And
but
Susanna was living in Nagyrév for 18 years.
Yeah, she had time.
And
doling out potions to all the wives.
The town earned the dubious title of the murder district.
Listen, if the shoe fits, if the goulash fits,
if
eat
the
it.
arsenic sticks.
Yeah.
So, obviously, these women were called the angel makers. They were making angels all over the place.
Left and right. Maybe that's what's on the coat of arms. It's Susie and Susanna.
Oh my God, I love it. Gay. Oh, wait, cousins. So how were
Cousins
the angel
can be
makers?
Gay.
Yeah. Well, just hopefully not together.
Well, that's legal in some states.
We're not talking about the legality here.
Not me defending first cousin marriage.
Eating your own shit is probably legal in a lot of states. Okay. So how did the angel makers get caught? There are two prevailing theories here. Number one is that a medical student in a neighboring town found a body washed up on a riverbank and tested it for arsenic and found high levels of arsenic, leading to an investigation, to which I say, fucking narc.
Yeah,
quit testing
rude.
on random bodies. Yeah.
Narking to further your own career. Okay.
Men.
Right.
Why put up with them? The second theory is that Bella Bodo, a Hungarian-American historian, states that an anonymous letter, okay, I guess this isn't, whatever, states that...
the historian is talking about an anonymous letter. He's not the one who wrote it. I have a confusing moment like that in my case, too. And it took me a minute to unpack it.
Well, yeah. He's purporting that there was an anonymous letter sent to a local newspaper that accused the women of mass murder, so...
They looked into it. Yeah.
So regardless of how this happened, maybe both things happened, I don't know. The authorities decide that it's time to dig into this, literally. In 1928, they exhumed dozens of bodies from the local cemetery and found that between 46 and 50 of them contained massive levels of arsenic. Oops. The authorities go to arrest our sweet Susanna, but find that she was onto them and she had already poisoned herself and she was dead.
No, I was hoping she just fucked off. That they'd get to her house and it's like, oh, she gone.
She was gone.
To the next astral plane.
Sorry, boys.
And you can't have my body either.
She poisoned herself. Poison's a woman's weapon.
Good for her. She's like, I'm not going down for this. And my work here is done.
Yeah.
Bye.
300.
That's a good crop.
Got my quota. Filled out my punch card.
Holy shit.
So 26 women eventually do stand trial for the murders. And this is really telling. Their motives were all varied. They were all different. Some of them were sick of their abusive spouses. Mm-hmm. Others wanted to get their mitts on land owned by their husbands' families. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. A few of them said they just wanted to keep their wartime lovers. They liked them better than their husbands.
Sure.
Apparently, people were shocked by how the women seemed completely unrepentant and bored during the court proceedings.
Well, I mean, violence is a pretty natural response to complete lack of agency.
Yep.
And I can't, lack of agency is oppression. Mm-hmm. And I am not one to, turn my nose up at violence against oppression because oppression is also violence.
Yep. And I think also just this time period right after World War I, a lot of people were really disillusioned with just humanity.
How could you not be?
Find happiness wherever you can and however you can, even if that means
boiling
knocking off your
paper.
husband. Just couple drops in his borscht.
In his cherry soup.
in his Lagos.
Oh, yum.
Yum. I would keep eating it.
Me too. Even if you told me. There's like a little bit of arsenic in there. And I'm like, okay.
It's delicious.
Yeah, I smoked cigarettes, so like hand it over. Really?
I am made of steel when it comes to carcinogens.
Yeah, let's go.
So yeah, their defense was just like, well, we did what we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, 8 of the angel makers were sentenced to death. Only two of them were actually executed, and 12 others received prison sentences.
Damn.
But here's a fun little fact. This might not have been localized to just this village, because in the nearby town of Titsakert, other exhumed bodies were shown to have high levels of arsenic, but nobody was ever convicted in those deaths. There were also like a few other towns where they had like a bunch of dudes dying.
Yeah, I don't think it was Hungary, but I've covered a case of this like basically widowmaker.
The Italian lady.
Yeah.
The soap lady.
The soap lady, exactly. So like this is not an isolated incident.
No.
People were desperate to be free of the oppression of men for a long fucking time. But they were killing them off left and right.
It was. I think it's so interesting how these come in trends.
Yeah.
Like there's one bad bitch who's like, I can facilitate this, and then all the women are like,
yes,
lining up. But it comes in like waves.
Mm-hmm.
At least they get caught in waves.
Right.
Okay, so in the 1950s, a historian named Ferenc Georgiev met an elderly villager while in prison during communist rule. This villager claimed that women had been murdering their menfolk since time immemorial. So the old dude was like, this is nothing new.
Yeah, where have you been?
In 2004, Maria Gunya, who had been a little girl at the time of the angel makers, was quoted on the BBC as saying that after the poisonings, the men's behavior toward their wives, quote, improved markedly.
You don't say. Turns out fear of death can adjust your fucking attitude a little bit.
Maybe don't be such a fucking pig.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Cholera's making a comeback. Nobody would suspect me.
Cholera's the new black. Cholera's the new plague.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, Hungary is well known for their folk tales.
Okay.
So I'm going to summarize one.
Oh, God. I'm here for it.
I mean, no disrespect to the original. This is from the book Old Hungary Folk Tales by Baroness Orgzy.
Oh.
And this is the story of the twin hunchbacks.
Okay.
Long, long ago, in the midst of fairyland, there's a big-ass forest that would take like weeks to cross. Huge forest.
Love this translation.
It was also enchanted.
Luck.
Yeah, big-ass forest. Direct translation. At night, it was the haunt of all the little fairies in the neighborhood. All night long, they would skip and dance and sing. They would party so hard that they'd party into the next day. However, at noon, they would all run back and go to bed in luxurious places like water lilies and pink lotus flowers. But they would also leave their little fairy rings to mark where they last partied.
Oh, what a life.
What a life. In the middle of this place is a lovely, shady glade with a pond. And all the fairies and elves loved it because who the fuck wouldn't love a shady glade with a pond?
A magical fairy pond? Sign me up.
Yeah. Everything's like kind of sparkly. 3 little fairies in particular would hang out there all morning and, quote, enjoy themselves.
Jack off.
They also invented a dance. It consisted of holding hands, twirling around, and singing Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty.
Okay.
Those were the lyrics. One morning, a hunchback woodcutter, lumberjack, came across this glade, and he saw the little fairies reveling and dancing and singing their Humpty Dumpty song, and he was like, fuck chopping wood. That's going to be way more fun. So he joins the dance, prancing around. He gets all excited. He's having so much fun. He starts doing backflips.
Hell yeah.
Much to the delight of the fairies. But they feel bad about his hunchback because the fairies are kind of vain, and they decided they didn't want to look at that anymore. So they were going to take care of the hunch. So they get out these little golden cups, and they fill them with water from the sparkly pond. And then each one of them dumps their cup of pond water onto the hunchback's hump while singing, "Go away, ugly hump." Then they resume dancing around him until the hump disappears. And the lumberjack is so happy that he parties with them even longer. He's laughing so hard he can't even sing the lyrics of the song, which again is simply Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty. So finally, our humpless hero kisses each one of his new friends with consent, then runs home super happy, jumping all over, doing cartwheels, ecstatic. He had a great time, and his hump is gone. So as you recall, the story is about twin hunchbacks.
Yeah.
So he gets back to his cottage, and his twin brother is like, "Hey, where'd your hump go?"
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
And the brother explains what happened to him. "Oh, I
The
met these
Humpty
fairies. We got wasted. They took my hump away." And of course, no one would believe him if the twin couldn't see that his hump was indeed gone. So he's like, "Okay, that must be what happened." Anyway, so Humpless tells Hump to go into the woods, find this glade, dance with the fairy, do what I did, and they'll de-hump you too. So the humped twin is pumped. He was also super jealous and wanted to be, quote, erect and good-looking like his brother.
Okay.
So he takes off at a dead sprint for this glade. He cannot get there fast enough. Alas, he doesn't do enough regular cardio and gets super tuckered out on his way to sprint to see the fairies. So much so that when he arrives, he's so out of breath. And they're like, "Ooh, a new friend." And they're dancing around singing Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty. And he can't get up, and he really just needs to sit down. So instead of singing the right lyrics, he says, "Sat on a wall."
What?
Sat on a wall.
This is a folklore origin story of Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall?
I guess so.
This is wild.
Yeah. So he's like, "I'm sitting down. This Humpty's having a seat."
Yep.
So he's not singing the song appropriately, and the fairies get kind of pissed off. He's not dancing. He's not singing their song.
Oh.
So they get out their little golden cups. They fill it with the sparkly pond water, and then they pour it on his back. But instead of chanting like "Hump, go away," they sing, "Hump, get twice as big as before." So this happens immediately. His hump got to be so big that nobody wanted to look at it, and he had to crawl all the way home. The end.
Maybe he's Humpty Dumpty. Like they made his hump so big that he looked like he was shaped like a big egg.
Yeah, maybe.
And he sat on a wall. Had a great fall.
Had a great fall. No one could put him back together. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. He crawled all the way home.
Fairies are assholes.
They can be.
They can definitely be. And that's like pervasive across so many different stories and so many different cultures that include fairy lore.
Yeah. They're scoundrels for sure.
Scoundrels. Wow. Well, that was fucking weird. Thank you.
Super weird. I hope that all of this combined has given you just a sense of the essence of Hungary. Confusing, vengeful, delightfully so. Lots of empires and lots of sour cream.
Yep. I'm here for it. Cheers to all of that.
Cheers to all of that. Well, let's take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors.
Yes, let's.
Then we'll get to your case.
Perfect.
Feeling like your best self means that you're, hydrated. You got a good night's rest. Maybe you've taken a walk outside, gotten some fresh air, cleared your head, you got nourished skin, etc. There are a lot of components that go into feeling good on a daily basis, and that is why supplements and products from Live Good are here to make your life a lot simpler. I use the patches, the energy patches and the sleep patches. And since I've started using them, there is a very distinct difference in how well I sleep at night and how good my brain feels during the day.
For sure.
With Live Good, I always feel like I'm at my best. And what is better than that?
And with Live Good, you know, they're just making it easy and accessible for you. They believe that everyone deserves access to high quality supplements without the wild markups. They offer premium products formulated by an industry-leading team of natural health experts, and they cut out the middleman to sell them at the lowest prices anywhere. Y'all know I'm a CBD girly. I've added some tinctures and things from Live Good to my routine. I'm also on a really easy multivitamin that I got from Live Good. It's just made it like so much easier for me to narrow down what products I want and get them. They also have really awesome other products like organic super greens, multivitamins, collagen, protein powder, creatine, hormone products, skincare products, all the highest quality products at prices that people can actually afford. So it's really no wonder they're the fastest growing supplement brand on the planet with over 1.5 million customers and counting. They have such an amazing catalog of what they offer. So really, you're going to find something for you on the Live Good website. Like, definitely check it out.
Ready to make the switch and start saving? We'll make it even easier for you. Use our link and you can save an additional 10% of your first order on top of the already lowest prices. Just go to livegood.com/gals to save 10% on your first order. That's livegood.com/gals. Don't miss out on this opportunity to invest in your health without overspending.
Y'all, I know this well. I have had many nights where I'm kicking off blankets and then suddenly I'm freezing and then I'm hot again. And guess what? Your nighttime bedroom temperature has a massive impact on your sleep quality. So if you have had the similar experiences that I have, you're waking up too hot, then you're too cold, then you're too hot, then you're too cold. I cannot recommend highly enough that you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long.
Yeah, this is like STEM approved.
Mm-hmm.
These sheets are infused with silver, like Amanda said, that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth.
Bye-bye.
Leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. So there's no more gross odors.
Mm-hmm.
Like you after like a week or two of sleeping, you can't walk into your bedroom and be like, oh my God, I gotta change the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Using these silver infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. So like if you fall asleep because it's warm and you got your windows open, and then at like 2 a.m, you're absolutely freezing.
Yep.
First of all, deal with the window first. But also, these sheets make it so that your temperature is regulated so you can get better sleep every single night. And it's designed for your skin. Stop sleeping on the bacteria. It's gross. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne, as well as that gross, musty smell. Sleep clean with Miracle. Also, Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels.
It's the truth. So upgrade your sleep this year. Go to trymiracle.com/gals to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code GALS at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product. It's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/gals and use the code GALS to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/gals to treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. If you are a renter, start taking advantage of Built. My God, I wish I had known about this when I was renting. Here's the thing. We can earn points on groceries, travel, and practically everything else we buy, but we should also be earning points on rent. One of our biggest monthly expenses. Built changed the game by letting renters earn high-value points on rent and around their neighborhood.
There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world that you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, our question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/gals. That's JOINBILT.com/GALS. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you, joinbuilt.com/gals, to start earning points on your rent payments today. You know the feeling when you finish an incredible love story, your heart's still racing, you have little butterflies in your tummy, and all you want is more. More pages, more passion, more longing, more. Mm-hmm. Go deeper, fall harder, and lose yourself in romance with Galatea.
Galatea is a reading app where anyone craving a little me time can dive into a library of romance stories that leave you feeling recharged and fulfilled, baby. There are over 1,000 bestsellers to choose, from shifter romance to bad boy billionaires to forbidden love, werewolves, slow burn fantasy, teen drama, and much, much more. Galatea is home to original series and standalone stories with an exclusive catalog of best-selling authors, with new chapters dropping daily. So there is always something new to explore. Over 30 million people have fallen in love with reading on Galatea. Join now to indulge in stories that make you feel like yourself again.
Right now, Galatea is offering our listeners an extra 25% off on top of an already irresistibly affordable subscription when you go to galatea.com/gals. That's GALATEA.com/gals to indulge in unlimited stories for even less. Galatea.com/gals.
So I have the fan pick this week, and I love these fucking old ass royal stories. So thank you for this, Eel.
And
it is my pleasure to introduce to myself, and probably many others, Gertrude of Merania.
Oh, Merania.
Gertrude of Merania was born around 1185 into the noble Index Merania family. Okay. A powerful Bavarian dynasty with extensive lands in present-day Germany, Austria, and Slovenia. She was the daughter of Berthold IV, Duke of Merania, and Agnes of Rochlitz. Her family was well connected across Europe. Her sister Agnes became the mistress of King Philip II of France, and another sister, Hedwig, became the saintly figure of Poland. So Gertrude's marriage to Andrew II of Hungary, who was the son of King Bela III of Hungary, was likely arranged to strengthen political alliances between Hungary and the Index family, which had influence in Central Europe. She married Andrew around 1203 before he became king in 1205. At the time of their marriage, and kind of while they were like courting, Andrew was a prince with ambitions for the throne, and Gertrude may have played a pretty big role in consolidating his power.
They always do. Women. They always do.
They always do.
They're the
behind
neck
every
that
great
turns
man.
the head.
Oh, we'll get to the neck.
Oh.
There's some sketchiness to Andrew's ambition, because Andrew was in conflict with his older brother, who had succeeded King Bela after his death to become King Emmerich. So his older brother Emmerich becomes king, and Andrew's like, I want to be king. And even challenged Emmerich at one point and like got arrested but escaped, and Gertrude fled to the safety of her family, like her father, before they felt safe to return, because King Emmerich got super sick and was fucking dying.
Okay.
So the throne would be kind of up for grabs. But like Emmerich is pissed at Andrew for being kind of like a little bitch. And so he's like, I'm going to crown my 4-year-old son, Ladislaus, the king of Hungary. So you can't even fucking have it. Oh. And then like Queen Regent will oversee, but like this 4-year-old is king. Because he knew Andrew wanted it, was trying in his last days to keep that from happening. And frankly, shit is so wild right now in America that I don't know if I would even be that shook by a 4-year-old king.
No.
Like it's giving Elon's son in the Oval Office during a presidential address.
Wiping his boogers on the Resolute desk.
Telling Trump he's not the president. Go away. This is a simulation. There's no way any of this shit's real. Anyway.
It was so gross when he was like, we will quietly do whatever we want. Okay.
Terrifying.
Ew.
Anyway,
okay.
Emmerich died on November 30th, 1204, leaving 4-year-old King Ladislaus in like symbolic power. But then little Ladislaus died suddenly.
Little Ladislaus.
And definitely suspiciously, because his cause of death remains unknown. He's 4. It's fucking 1204.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Could be anything. But there's no record of it being attributed to any of the like common diseases at the time. Who knows? Who fucking knows? But he dies 6 months into his reign as the 4-year-old king, and paved the way for Andrew to become king of Hungary, because he's like the next successor. Okay. There aren't any more sons that could be crowned from Emmerich. Okay. So Andrew becomes king of Hungary, and he's got his girlie Gertrude by his side as queen, who likely helped him conspire against Emmerich when Emmerich was alive. And then some think the suspicious circumstances around Ladislaus's death could have also been her being like, you could just kill the kid and then you would be king. And him being like, you know what, bitch? You're right. Let's fucking go. But we don't have proof of that. Why put up with them? We don't have proof of that, but that was like some sentiment among Hungarian nobles at the time, and we're about to get to why.
I can see it.
Gertrude was a deeply polarizing figure. She was loved by some and hated by others. She was undoubtedly loved by her family, especially her husband, King Andrew II. He trusted her influence at court. Like, she was often left as queen regent when he was like traveling for whatever political reasons. She was in charge. Yeah.
That's a great situation.
She embodied the My Big Fat Greek Wedding adage of the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and the neck can turn the head any way it wants.
It really can.
It really can. The noble pair had 5 children together, only one of whom lived past the age of 33.
Well, 33 was old.
A pretty good run.
Yeah.
Pretty good run. It was her son who becomes king, and we'll get to him. And he had a pretty good run. I think he lived to be like 60, which is like crazy in the 1200s.
Yeah, that's ancient.
So ancient. So Gertrude had strong support among the German-speaking nobles, because she hails from what is now, this like German region.
Bavaria.
Bavaria. And her Andex Merania relatives. So she immediately starts pulling some classic shit and giving all of her like German fam and besties high ranks, powerful seats in Hungarian government, and a lot of fucking Hungarian land. Which lands differently for me now, knowing more from your segment about Hungary, where it's like they weren't very populated, but had a lot of land, which like I think was part of why there was so much fighting over it, because it's like there aren't even that many Hungarians. Like, how are they even going to protect this? We can go in and fucking take it. Right. Probably why they ended up with so little in terms of how modern day Hungary is now. But so like, obviously, without the power of numbers, the power of land ownership is like a really big part of like Hungarian nobility. And so Hungarians are pissed because she's coming in and giving all of her buddies land that they're like, this should belong to Hungarians. Like, we fucking have been holding it down. Everybody wants this. Really Don't be ridiculous, time. Andrea. Everyone wants this. So they're fucking pissed. Her close family ties and political connections made her an influential and active queen. Like I said, she was often regent when her husband was away, and it's said that she ruled like a man, which I guess we're supposed to assume was a compliment for the time.
Yeah.
All of this just makes me want a new season of House of the Dragon, like, so bad. And
oh my God.
I could have covered a million things involving this family and like their pretty long-standing rule through like a lot of different fights over Hungarian land. But obviously we don't have fucking time for that shit. So
I Googled, what did I go? Oh, I Googled about the AirPod guy.
Yep.
Because I just wanted to know like a little bit more about what was their deal.
Yeah.
I found a Reddit thread. Took me a few minutes to figure out that everyone was referencing a fucking video game.
Yeah, that'll happen.
called like King's Conquerors or something like that. I'm like,
that'll happen.
what? Yeah. So
I'm so sorry you fell victim to a very enthusiastic Reddit thread. So enthusiastic that it seems like they're talking about real things.
I mean, I was definitely skimming quite a bit, and then I kept catching like gameplay and you know, strength, energy, whatever. Obviously not a gamer.
Nope, you're crushing it. So, obviously, among the Hungarian nobility watching all this precious land be like fucking handed over, she was widely resented and in some cases outright hated. She openly favored her German relatives and foreign courtiers, granting them land, titles, and privileges at the what felt like the expense of native Hungarian lords and nobility. Even special treatment to her brothers who were accused of some fuckery. This little section's from Wikipedia. Queen Gertrude's two brothers, Ecbert and Bamberg, Bishop of Ecbert of Bamberg, Bishop of Bamberg, and Henry II, Margrave of Istria, fled to Hungary in 1208 after they were accused of participating in the murder of Philip, King of the Germans. So they're like, oops, we're in trouble, but Gertrude will take us in and we won't see any consequences. They'll like give us land and jobs and it'll be fucking great.
Yeah.
Andrew, Gertrude's husband, granted large domains to Bishop Ecbert and Gertrude's youngest brother, Berthold, and we're going to hear a little more fucked up tea about him later, had been Archbishop of Kalocsa since 1206. He was like a priest in this region.
Okay.
He was made the Ban of Croatia, so like a lord of, or like he ran this part of Croatia, and Dalmatia in 1209. So she gave them a bunch of shit that like other nobles of Hungarian, like original Hungarian descent were like, fuck you, that should be ours.
Yeah.
Andrew's
they're like January Sixers.
Yes.
What are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing? Andrew's generosity towards his wife's German relatives and courtiers discontented the local lords. And according to historian Gyula Christo, the anonymous author of The Deeds of Hungarians referred to the Germans, from the Holy Roman Empire when he sarcastically mentioned that now the Romans graze on the goods of Hungary.
How embarrassing.
So embarrassing. This favoritism caused major tensions at court and indicated that Gertrude was calling a lot of the shots. Her influence over Andrew was seen as excessive, and her interference in politics fueled animosity. Her unpopularity among the Hungarian elite reached a breaking point in September of 1213.
Another time.
Yep. When a group of nobles conspired against her and assassinated her while the king was away on a military campaign.
Oh, no.
They invited her on a hunt, which was like, this is a red flag, even if that is like a normal thing for the royal elite to do.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Look at the flowers.
I'm not going on a fucking hunt.
No.
And while deep in the Pilis forest, the nobles ripped her to shreds.
What does that mean?
Like her body was apparently torn to pieces.
Ooh.
Chopped up, stabbed. Her younger brother Berthold and Duke Leopold VI of Austria were also there at the time, and they're allies of hers. So they're like, oh, fuck, they're murdering her, but we're super outnumbered by all these Hungarian nobles. We're going to run. So they fled, and they managed to escape with their lives. I didn't go down the rabbit hole of where they all went afterward. Her death was not really avenged with arrests or executions.
Because everyone hated her?
Kinda. And like Andrew came back and was like fucking devastated that his wife was dead, but he also didn't really bring charges against these people. And then he remarried twice. He had another wife that died and then remarried again. And then, I don't know, he died and he wasn't fucking king anymore. But anyway, it's kind of surprising. It was like, yeah, that was fucked up. Anyway.
It
was weird. But her son, who was quite young at the time of her death, I think he was only like 5 or 6. He was the namesake of Andrew's father, the original King Bela, or not, maybe not original, the third King Bela. He's now like the fifth or fourth King Bela. He later, when he becomes king, confiscated lands belonging to those involved in the plot against his mother, or that he thought had been involved. And all of this is basically a slap on the wrist for like a fucking brutal assassination of royalty. It blows my mind.
To shreds.
Yeah. But her brutal murder definitely suggests that the hatred toward her was not just political, but like deeply personal for many of these Hungarian nobles who felt like she was basically betraying their lineage and claim to the land.
Yeah. It's like pecan sandyism. Overkill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's obviously like the way that they killed her suggests some real fucking feelings. Mm-hmm. And there's mob mentality. There were a bunch of them. They're all like jacking each other up about murdering this woman.
They're in the woods. It's basically a bachelor
party.
They're
hunting. The testosterone is off the fucking charts.
Ew. Lord of
the
the
exact
flies.
details of her murder are not fully documented, but historical accounts suggest that the conspiracy was led by noble Peter, son of Tor, who was likely supported by other Hungarian nobles, including Bonk Bon.
Bonk?
I guess, a prominent court official, and he will come back into play.
Okay.
The conspirators took
Bring
advantage.
back Bonk.
Bring back Bonk. Don't ban Bonk Bon. The conspirators took advantage of the king's absence and attacked Gertrude while she was hunting in the Pilis forest, a royal hunting ground near Esztergom. She, as we said, was brutally murdered, with some sources suggesting she was hacked to pieces and stabbed multiple times. Her body was so horrifically mutilated that, according to some accounts, it had to be like pieced back together like a fucking scarecrow for her burial.
Ooh.
Hate it.
Yuck.
So after her death, hubby Andrew too, he's devastated, but he either chooses not to or is for whatever reason unable to punish the conspirators immediately. There's some suggestion that he's like kind of a weak leader. And so maybe to bring down this harsh punishment on valuable, like powerful people like Hungarian nobles politically would have been a bad call. And so that was why he didn't do it. That's my understanding.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, some of them were later brought to justice kinda by their son, Bela the fourth. But Bonk Bon, despite being suspected of pretty heavy involvement in the conspiracy, I'm a little high, to kill her with Peter, what's his face. He escaped like severe consequences. I think he kept his position, kept his job, again, probably because he's super high ranking and Andrew's like, fuck, if I'm going to stay in power, I need you. Mm-hmm. So the young son, Bela IV, who was crowned king at only 8 years old, but not given any land to actually rule yet, grew up wanting to avenge his mother's death. And from what I gathered, kind of feeling like his dad was a pretty weak king.
Well, if you're not going to stand up for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think, it was still like there had been some failed Hungarian expansion and Hungarian defense of their own land during Andrew II's reign. And so obviously this young pup, Bela IV, is like, I'm going to come in and do this way fucking better.
Yeah.
So he eventually takes over the crown and he left a legacy of like being a pretty important king. I obviously don't know shit about history, so I just pulled this little section from a historian's European royal history blog. So this says, King Andrew II died on September 21st, 1235, and Bela succeeded him as King Bela IV of Hungary and Croatia. He attempted to restore royal authority, which had diminished under his father. For this purpose, he revised his predecessor's land grants and reclaimed former royal estates, causing discontent among the noblemen and the prelates. I don't know what that means, but we don't have time. The Mongols invaded Hungary and annihilated Bela's army in the Battle of Mohi on April 11th, 1241. He escaped from the battlefield, but a Mongol detachment chased him down from town to town as far as Trogir on the coast of the Adriatic Sea.
Lord.
Although he survived the invasion, the Mongols devastated the country before their unexpected withdrawal in March of 1242. King Bela IV introduced radical reforms in order to prepare his kingdom for what he assumed was coming, a second Mongol invasion. He allowed the barons and the prelates to erect stone fortresses and set up their private armed forces. So he like really bolstered the military, basically.
Yeah. Well, even if they were just like mercenaries.
Mm-hmm. He promoted the development of fortified towns. During his reign, thousands of colonists arrived from the Holy Roman Empire, Poland, and other neighboring regions to settle in the depopulated lands. Bela's efforts to rebuild his devastated country won him the epithet of second founder of the state. So he like really committed his reign to the restoring this like vast Hungarian empire, even without the numbers. So it is like
good
pretty
for
impressive.
Bela. Yeah.
He set up a defensive alliance against the Mongols, which included Danlil Romanovich, Prince of Halik, Boleslaw the Chaste, Duke of Krakow, and
like
other
Boleslaw
with a B.
Oh no,
the Chaste, and other Ruthenian and Polish princes. His allies supported him in occupying the Duchy of Styria in 1254, but it was lost to King Ottokar II of Bohemia 6 years later. During Bela's reign, a wide buffer zone, which included Bosnia, Baranks, which is now like part of an area in Serbia, and other new conquered regions, was established along the southern frontier of Hungary in the 1250s. Bela's relationship with his oldest son and heir, Stephen, became tense in early 1260, because it was the 60s, because the elderly king favored his daughter, Anna, and his youngest child, Bela, Duke of Slavonia. So now it's starting another round of like, a brother is pissed because, first of all, his sister is getting more props than him, and then his dad's like, I can't crown her king, so my next favorite is the other, my little Bela. And
sorry,
like,
you're such
fuck?
a douche, Steve.
Yeah, get better. So, yeah, he was forced to cede the territories of the Kingdom of Hungary east of the River Danube to Stephen, which caused a civil war lasting until 1266. Nevertheless, Bela's family was famed for his piety. So he's pretty well honored in Hungarian history for how hard he fought to like maintain their rule over all of this land.
Yeah.
As for Gertrude's legacy, her story was pervasive in popular art and media of the next like 100 years, really, namely plays and operas, though the story told in these plays and operas is considered heavily biased against her and almost entirely false.
Oh.
Gertrude is the main antagonist in both Josef Katona's play Bankban, which was written and put on in 1819, only about 100 years before my grandma was born, and the opera of the same, it's just an opera version of the same play, which came out in 1861. And this was composed by Ferenc Erkel. They are fictionalized retellings of the assassination in which the noblemen of Hungary conspire against Queen Gertrude, who in the play is called Gertrudis, who exploited the people of Hungary as a regent and let them live in fear of poverty, while she herself was throwing feasts in the royal palace and giving titles and estates to her Meranian friends and relatives. So that little part, or at least like the optics and sentiments among staunch Hungarians at the time, was based in some truth, because it's like they're giving all this shit. She's giving all this shit to her homies and we're not getting any of it.
Yeah, it's kind of propaganda though.
Yes, it was very much exaggerated to make her look like, obviously this predates Marie Antoinette, but like some fucking Marie Antoinette monster.
Mm-hmm.
In the play, the noblemen only wait for the approval of Bankban, the most powerful among them, who is resistant to join in this political attack. However, upon learning, in the story, Bankban learns that Otto, Gertrude's brother, drugged and raped his wife, Bankban's wife, Melinda, and that this act was given the tacit approval of Queen Gertrude. And so then Bankban in the story is like, fuck you, you let your brother assault my wife. That's not cool. So in the play, Otto breaks into the bedchamber Or no, in the play, Bonk Bon breaks into the bedchamber of Gertrude at night and confronts her, which leads to a heated argument ending in the murder of the queen. So it's not even like the same story of them going on the hunt, which we know happened. And I am not one to dismiss a rape allegation by any stretch, but that part of the story is super shady for a lot of reasons because there's no record of Bonk Bon even having a wife. Like, who is Melinda? You never were married.
Yeah.
The rapist depicted in the play is her brother Otto, who didn't even live with her in Hungary and wasn't there at the time they're claiming this took place. But her brother Berchtold, the priest guy that we talked about, was living there and was counseling her. He was still alive and a priest when the play was written, and it was literally illegal to make accusations of this kind against a priest.
Oh.
So there are rumors that like Berchtold did indeed rape a royal or noble woman. And I'm not here to defend him in the slightest. We just don't know if that was true. But there's a rumor that he did that. But in the play, it's like, well, we can't say he did it, so we'll say Otto did it. Yeah. So there's just so much that's like, we don't know if it happened, or like there was rumor that it happened, or maybe it happened, but we've changed the narrative so much.
Well, they also changed Gertrude's name.
Right. Historians widely see this as like, this was a plot device written for the play as justification for the attack on her.
Yeah.
And this isn't based in actual truth or any kind of record to indicate that this was real. And even despite her polarizing choices to appoint all of her buds to government and give them a bunch of land, there's like no actual proof that Gertrude was an exploitative or negligent regent. There's nothing to show that she withheld resources or like didn't feed, her constituency or whatever. Like there's nothing like
a man.
that. Yeah, there's nothing like that to back that up. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, but I like really want to see it now that I know about this story. I'm like, I want to see this play. So bring it fucking back.
I'll tell my brother-in-law.
Please. But yeah, this, like, regardless of all these inaccuracies, the play and the opera quickly became favorites in Hungary. Like, it was basically their version of Real Housewives.
Oh,
Everybody who could get their hands on tickets was fucking going to see this shit.
Receipts, proof,
Timelines.
timeline, text messages.
A hunt. Anyway.
Ripped limb from limb.
Torn apart. Sewn back together like a scarecrow.
I'm under a lot of stress.
This woman has been through it. But yeah, that is Gertrude of Merania.
Nice work.
Isn't it? It's these old fucking cuckoo bananas royal family shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I picture all of these people as like faces woven into like a wall tapestry.
Oh yeah, the few pictures of the pertinent characters in here that are on the drive are like 3 crude drawings, like medieval drawings. They're great. Andrew too did not look like a hottie. He has like a wispy beard. It's like very thin.
I see it.
Yeah, it's giving Rasputin a little bit.
Oh God. Mm-hmm. Foul. Mm-hmm. Well,
but she loved him, so I'm not gonna yuck her yum.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much to Eel Selmer for this topic and your generous support, and thank you, listeners, for listening.
It was an eel good time.
It was the eels of times. It was the worms of times.
Eel good movie of the year. I'll stop now.
I'm going to eel my pants. I have to go. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.